Alexa, what time is it?
It's 5:59 p.m.
Got time for a quick party ring. Oh, I got time for a party ring? Better not. I want people to think I'm professional. So, here we are. My first Facebook Live. Cool, huh? Well, thanks to everyone that is going to join in at some point. And if you're watching it back later, like it, share it. That would be great if you could do that. It would help me out massively. And if you get any questions, please put them in straight away and I will answer them at the end. And if you're not watching live, pop them in anyway and I'll go back on the post and I'll answer them when I can on my Facebook page. So, over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how weight loss is affected in lockdown. And going through some of the situations that I'm sure you're going through right now. If any of you don't know who I am, my name's Grant. I'm a personal trainer and weight loss coach. I've been working in the health and fitness industry for about 20 years. Yeah, about 20 years now, I would say. I have to say that my kind of outlook and my kind of ethos when it comes to weight loss has to be about simplicity and sustainability. I think those are things that are the two most important things to me, I would say. And one thing I do like saying quite a lot at the moment is kind of real world weight loss. I work with real people in the real world, and I think it's important to kind of be flexible and fit around everybody. My dislikes in this industry: fakes, fad diets, celebrity diets, weight loss supplements, people that demonize food groups, particular food groups. So it's only a matter of seconds now before I get rained down with hatred from all the people, keto muppets and sugar Nazis, etc., etc. So bring it on. So weight loss in lockdown. You're all probably in different situations at the moment. I know some people are struggling to maintain weight. Others of you may be putting on weight right now. So we're going to try and come at all angles and give you a little bit of an insight into my world and also kind of let you know that where you're at the moment is probably okay. So we're going to focus on three different things. I'm going to focus on, initially, we have all been indoors quite a lot, haven't we? And we've all been shopping online, getting deliveries. So our fridges, our cupboards, our freezers, our drinks cabinets are probably as full as they ever are. Maybe as full as they are at Christmas. And we all know what happens to our body weight at Christmas. So we're going to talk about our cupboards and how much food we've got in at the moment. Secondly, we're going to talk about our physical activity levels, how active we are not anymore. And that's a big effect on our weight, as we all know. And thirdly, we're going to discuss probably the biggest thing that's affecting us all at the moment over the last 10 weeks is our mental health. This is a massively stressful situation. And stress has a big effect on your weight. And again, we're going to go on to that a little bit more in a minute. So let's talk about initially what we've got in our cupboards, our fridges, our freezers and our drinks cabinets at the moment. Like most people at the start of this, you were probably all a bit panicked by what was going on. So you bought your usual shop and probably then some. And some more on top of that, and some more on top of that. If you bought one Ben & Jerry's, you probably bought about 6 just in case. And guess what? When the food is at home, we eat it. We eat what we've got. If you haven't got it, you don't eat it. So, as simple as it sounds, now that things are starting to relax a little bit, and whether you're doing your shops online or in person, create a shopping list. It sounds obvious, but it is a big, big thing. overbuying foods and having your cupboard stocked with everything just means you just consume more. So create a shopping list. Don't overbuy. Don't panic buy. Good job that we don't have to live off eating toilet rolls. Otherwise, we'd have all been in big problems at the beginning. So just create a nice, simple shopping list and don't overbuy foods. So if you were buying, like I said, 4 Ben & Jerry's, maybe just go for 1. If you're buying 16 packets of Oreo biscuits, maybe just go for 2. And just do it that way. So don't overbuy. Restrict the amount that you're putting in your cupboards. And don't freak out, because now we can get deliveries and we can get things brought to us a lot more easily. If, like us, at the beginning, you were kind of having to explore different avenues to get your food, you might have been in the fortunate position to be kind of pushed out of your comfort zone a little bit and had veggie boxes and things delivered that you might not have had a choice on exactly what was in there. And this meant you're out of your comfort zone. You're having to cook and eat different stuff. So if you've been in that situation, you probably found now that you'll change your eating habits, your cooking habits to suit that box. So you can do that with your shopping list. So take yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. So secondly, we're talking about how much we move. Now, your movement, your activity, and any structured exercise you do makes up about 20% of your total daily energy expenditure. 20%. So if suddenly that is taken away because you're in lockdown, you're at home, you're sat on your backside, you're desperately trying to homeschool, that amount of energy that you used to burn is gone. So you've got this excess amount of calories now that are just sat there doing nothing. You throw on top of that extra food that you've all bought. And again, what happens? We start to put on weight. So move when you can. Get out when you can. I'm sure some of you have been out there, the people that have got no kids and lots of time have probably been doing Joe Wicks every morning, 5-6 days a week, and doing 7 home workouts. If you can do that, fantastic. If you can't, like the rest of us, because you're trying to balance work and homeschooling, just do your best and be active when you can. Thirdly is our mental health. Now, if you're taking this increased amount of food, the fact that we're not exercising and the effect that that has on our mental health as well, and then throw into the mix that you're actually worrying about putting on weight, that's just going to put even more strain on how you're feeling mentally. Now, we're worrying about everything from our financial situation to our jobs to family members to getting ill, the long-term solution. We're watching too much news and throwing on top of that a worry about what your body weight is doing is just going to create much, much more stress. With that stress comes physiological issues as well, like lack of sleep. Lack of sleep results in, without going into too much science, big fluctuation in energy levels, mood swings, and worst of all, generally binge eating. So let's be kind to ourselves. Let's be nice to ourselves. So after this short live that I'm going to do, I want you to go away and I want you to make a top 10 list, okay, of things that are important to you right now. At number 1, the most important thing to you right now, all the way down to 10. Now, if losing weight doesn't come in the top 5, forget about it right now. You don't need to worry about it. You've got other things to worry about. If, at the moment, what I say to my clients is that in your list, wherever weight loss comes, mental health now should be coming on top of that. So your mental health is much, much more important than you getting on the scales and what the scales read, and because that's going to have a huge knock-on effect at obviously how you're feeling. Now, I know some of you, my clients included, are actually doing okay at the moment and actually losing weight, and that is great. I don't want to scupper or have an effect on that, but the majority of us in lockdown are struggling. And we need to prioritize what's important. And I've picked these 3 things because I think they're 3 things that we can do, that we can have some input into without flipping our life upside down. Because let's face it, for the majority of us, our life is upside down right now. So do your top 10 list of what's important and what's most important and what's least important, And if weight loss isn't in the top 5, just kick it out. And please, at any point, if you've got some questions, please do throw them in. Thanks for all coming to watch as well. Now, one question, I was going to save these to the end, but you know what? Physical activity is something I get asked about a lot. What training should I be doing? What workouts should I be doing? How often should I be training? These are all completely specific to you, the individual. It's dependent on how much time you've got. Obviously, the more time, I've got clients at the moment that have gone from working very, very busy city jobs to being at home, being paid, and they've got hours to burn, and they've gone from doing 1 or 2 workouts to they're doing 5, 6 times a week. The rest of us aren't in that same situation. And sorry, I'm reading questions at the same time. I shouldn't be doing that. So make it specific to you. I think any physical activity at the moment, I'm saying ordinarily I wouldn't class gardening and walking and stuff as exercise. At the moment, everything is exercise. Bending over and emptying the dishwasher, walking up and down the stairs, walking in and out of the garden. Any movement that you can do at the moment is a bonus. So whatever your thing is, and now things have been relaxed a little bit, maybe you can get out and walk more, do a couple of walks a day, do a cycle, just listen to what the government say. Don't want to get political about this right now, that's for sure. Running, cycling or gardening. For me, because I cycle, cycling is always going to be the best thing. Part of the reason for me why I do that is for the physiological aspect and the psychological aspect. When I cycle outside, I call them therapy miles. It's a good way to kind of download. It's a good way to de-stress and relax. So that's why I do it. For some of you, you might not be able to do that at the moment. Going off tangent a little bit, I think meditation now is a really, really good thing to get involved in. And again, from a client perspective, I don't often ask clients to kind of sit cross-legged and, make noises and all the rest of it. It might be something as simple as taking 10 minutes, turning your phone off, going and sitting in a room with no TV, no nothing else, and just being alone with your thoughts, lying down on your back, hands on your tummy, and just diaphragmatic breathing. So basically just trying to breathe in and out, but pushing your tummy up and down. Something as simple as that, really, really good way to de-stress. Also, another question now. I was going to save these to the end, but we'll do them as we go through. If you've got a window of activity, I would always say do as much as you can in that time. So if you're comfortable running and you're on your own and you want to run. If you're not comfortable running, walk. So you're trying to do as much as you can in that hour at as high intensity as you can without causing yourself any mischief. Playing with kids, yeah, at the moment, physical activity. You asked me that outside of lockdown, I'm like, no way, it doesn't count. You need to be going out, doing your structured gym exercise, and then all that physical activity on top, walking up downstairs, trying to walk to work, walking up and down escalators if you're in London, trying to stay as active as you possibly can. So to recap at the beginning what we were talking about overbuying food, trying to keep it simplistic and saying, if you buy it, you will eat it. So think about what you're buying, make a shopping list, cut back a little bit. You don't have to cut out everything. You don't have to never buy ice cream again or your favourite biscuits, but just be aware, cut back a little bit, and making lists, shopping lists, really help to do that. Rather than just going online and looking at your favourites and just ploughing through and order everything as before, actually make a list. Move, get out, walk, cycle, any exercise, gardening, playing with kids, whatever it is, all those things as well. Not only will they help with the physical activity and burning more calories, but they will also help with your mental health as well. And thirdly, with your mental health, try and prioritize what's important. If Like I say, if you're making this 1 to 10 list and weight loss isn't in the top 5, forget about it. Focus on the important stuff in the top 5. I did a post recently about, you know, how to stop anxiety and stress in the lockdown. And one of the things was, you know, write down what you can do each day for fun, just to try and break the monotony of what is becoming, you know, or is a frustrating, stressful, boring situation where the majority of us are putting on weight. So getting a diary, write down, like today I'm going to go and play football with my son, or I am going to play Play-Doh with my son, speaking from experience here. So anything that's fun, try and get it into your day, because it will help overall with that mental health. But I think what I'm trying to say to everybody that's come on and probably thinking, right, oh, what's the miracle? I want the miracle weight loss in lockdown tool, tablet, theory. My theory is right now, if you're losing weight, keep doing what you're doing. If you're putting on weight, like the rest of us are, all of us are doing it, it's okay. Don't worry. Think of it as like a big, long Christmas. At the end of it, we can all lose our minds, do stupid detoxes and stupid crash diets to try and get the weight all off again. All right? And then you can come and talk to me and listen to my rantings about how I hate everything fake, fad, celebrity diet, weight loss supplements, what else is it? And yeah, people who demonise certain food groups. I'm going to answer a few questions now without trying to look stupid tilting my head. I find keeping exercise as a routine difficult, 1 cycle a week, and that's about it. Do you know what? Routine is hard. It's weird in this situation. You feel like it should be the same, right? We're getting up, we're doing our work, we're doing homeschooling. But personally, I'm finding that every day is quite different. And even over the last 2 weeks where we've had most routine, it's been ridiculously difficult. I have not cycled or trained at the same time on the same day once. So in terms of getting consistency, I would just say you have to take your opportunities when you can. So if there's an opportunity to get out, go. And do it at the drop of a hat if you're going out for a cycle. If it's being in the front room and doing a 30-minute circuit that you've got offline or downloaded from me, yeah, do that. So be opportunistic, I would say, with your time and your time to train. As soon as there's that availability, get on board, do it straight away. So back to what I was saying, staying physically active, looking after mental health. Buying less food means eating less food. So that's a good place to start if you're really trying to get that weight off. Any more questions, fire them through. I think I'm about through. I wanted to keep this nice and short. Also, I'm quite hungry. I was gonna have a party ring now. No, I'm joking. I don't eat party rings. I don't. So I hope that was kind of a little bit informative, and I kind of gave you a bit of a left field live. I'm sure most of you were thinking that you were going to get some amazing weight loss theory about how to lose weight in lockdown. But all I'm saying is just take care. Don't overload your cupboards. Get active when you can. Look after your mental health. Also, it'd be really cool if you're brave enough later on after this post, put down your 1 to 10 list on what's important to you right now. So that, remember that number 1 at the top, the most important, all the way down to 10, least important. If weight loss isn't in the top 5, forget about it. And during this period, mental health should always become above weight loss. What's your view on eating too late and or intermittent fasting? So it's kind of one of the same things. All intermittent fasting does, let's think of your day as a clock. And if you don't eat in a certain part of that day, all it does is decrease your feeding window. So for example, if you're taking, you're not going to have breakfast, you have dinner at 6, you go right through, get up at 6, 7 in the morning, miss lunch, go through to, or you might miss breakfast, go through to lunch. You've just created a massive part of the day where you're not eating. It's not rocket science. So you've decreased the amount of calories that you're taking on board and therefore create a nice deficit and you start to lose weight. It doesn't really matter when you eat. There was a kind of school of thought ages ago that, you know, eating late at night was bad for you and it turns into fat and all the rest of it. That's complete garbage. Intermittent fasting is basically skipping a meal. You know, it works for some people. Some people can, you know, I always say to my clients, do you intermittent fast? And I say, yeah. I normally have dinner about 7 and then I don't eat breakfast again till 6 the next day. Or sometimes if I skip breakfast, I don't eat again till lunchtime. So intermittent fasting is skipping a meal. I don't want to poo-poo it too much because for some people, it's a great way of creating a calorie deficit, like a negative energy balance. So you're burning more than you put in and losing weight. The rigid ones aren't very sustainable because they get in the way. You know, if you're supposed to be fasting and you've got a birthday party with mates and you go out to this lovely restaurant and you're sat at the end of the table going, I'm sorry, I've done my 500 calories, I'm just going to sip water and be a boring shit. You know, you kind of fall off the wagon because you're missing out socially and on stuff going on. But good question, Mark. Thank you for that one. Does exercising in the morning get your metabolism going? Again, this is another fallacy. And I'm going to put my hand up to say that there was a time gone by that I would tell clients that wanted to lose weight, if they weren't eating or breakfast, to eat breakfast because it would kickstart their metabolism. And it doesn't. So what's a good way to explain this? If you're not eating breakfast already, you're just increasing the amount of calories that you take on by eating a meal that you didn't have already. It doesn't. If you skip your meal, so if you skip that meal in the morning and you go right through to lunch, as opposed to having that meal, it doesn't mean that you have this kind of big chunk of extra calories that you burn in the day. It's been proven now scientifically that it doesn't. And it's another thing with that as well is kind of terminology. We're in this world at the moment where metabolism is like a match that you flick and then it just goes out, or a tap that you turn on and off. It isn't. Your metabolism is pretty consistent. It can be, you know, interfered with various different processes, hormones and things like that, but it's pretty consistent and it makes up 75% of your total daily energy expenditure. So, you know, your body's processes, digesting, pumping blood, all those things, blinking eyes, that's 75% of your total daily energy expenditure. So, you know, I would say, again, it depends on the individual. Some people like to eat before they train. So, and if they're training in the morning, they want to have something to eat. Others don't. So it's very specific on the individual. I would say if you're trying to lose weight, there's no need to eat breakfast in the morning if you aren't already. If you are, skipping breakfast and taking breakfast out would just mean a decrease in calories and probably a stronger possibility of creating a calorie deficit. How does poor sleep pattern, going to bed late, getting up, affect digestion? This is quite a good one, actually. This is going to be very specific to the individual and the foods that you're eating and the quantities that you're eating. So if you're eating very close to your sleeping window when you go to bed and the quantity you're eating is very big, generally digestion doesn't work as well. Digestion works better when we're moving, basically. When you're up and down. When you go to sleep, your body's kind of closing down. So the digestive process doesn't work as well when we're asleep. But again, it's completely specific to the individual. Some people can eat before bed, don't have any problems, go to the toilet regularly, you know, and it's not a problem. In terms, if you're talking about weight loss, it doesn't have any effect. You need to kind of go back to thinking about this kind of clock face and the amount of calories we consume in that clock face. You know, if you didn't eat anything all day and then ate your 2,000 calories 2 minutes before bed, it's not going to have any effect on the weight that you lose, assuming that 2,000 calories is your kind of energy balance. But yeah, digestion and stuff, not a massive amount of my kind of knowledge comes from there, but thanks for your question, Conrad. Just going into, down a different road again with weight loss. The fundamentals of weight loss are the same. So whether you're Joe Blogs, Jane Blogs, 6'2", 2 foot tall, you're trying to create a environment where you can consistently have a calorie deficit or a negative energy balance. So you're burning a little bit more each day than you're eating, than you're taking on board. What happens a lot of the time is people are kind of got this life and this lifestyle, and perfect health is over here, and they just try and jump straight over, and it's not very sustainable. And people don't realize that you can actually go a small distance away from your nutritional habits now and still lose weight. And again, something that I say quite a lot to my clients is you can lose weight on a really crappy diet. People go, oh really? Why are you saying that? It's shock horror. You shouldn't say that. But it's true. And initially, when you're trying to get somebody, a client from here, along that continuum to better health, because I don't think perfect health exists. You're just trying to improve somebody's health to a point where, it works for them. It's easier to make really small changes. They're much easier to adhere to and to sustain, rather than just trying to jump. If someone's never eaten vegetables before, and then you go, right, here you go, here's this meal plan, and you've got to eat all these green vegetables every day, they'll be able to do it for a while, but eventually the wheels will fall off and it just won't be sustainable. But if you can keep some familiarity, put my teeth back in, to their diet, then you're much more likely to have that client, or you as a person, be able to sustain what you're doing. Now, this opens up a can of worms. The starting point for that is to understand your own nutrition. There's no point you jumping from A to B into someone else's meal plan. Meal plans are another thing. I just don't rate them. You want to understand what you're doing. So I would suggest keeping a food diary, logging your calories, something like that will make you a bit more going, okay, I'm a little bit more nutritionally aware. I'm eating this and that, and I didn't realise that a can of Kronenberg was 250 calories. And it just makes you more nutritionally aware. Now, through experience and science, we now know that people self-reporting for stuff like this is atrocious. People leave stuff out consciously, subconsciously. We all lie to kingdom come. So be aware of that. So get nutritionally aware first. Figure out where your big loads of calories are coming from and where's easiest to take a little bit off. If you're having 12 beers a week, and they're 250 calories each, and you need to drop 200 calories a day, you might choose to take 4 of those off. And then if another food group is 200 calories, or Mars bar or whatever it is, you can chop that off. So you're not really changing too much. You're just gently chipping away at what you're doing, but you're keeping the basis of your diet, your nutrition that you've got now, the same. And then you just gently progress forward from that. I hope that gives you a little bit more of a kind of idea about calorie deficit and weight loss. The issues arise when somebody comes along and dresses this principle, and it's the underlying principle for all weight loss. Don't listen to what anyone tells you otherwise. And they put a method on top of it. So to achieve this, you have to do the ketogenic diet and give up carbohydrates, or you have to give up sugar, or give up fruits, or give up pasta, or go low fat and high protein, and you get kind of bamboozled by the method. Or your food is based on sins. This is a sin, so I don't eat that, and this isn't, so I eat that. But the underlying principle is the same. And the reason that this method happens is people want you. They want your money, and they want your repeat business. And I think from an ethical standpoint, it's like fraud. It's like you paying to learn how to drive. I've nicked this off somebody else. You paying to learn how to drive, and then 6 months later having to pay to learn how to drive again. It's mad. If you should be paying a nutritional coach for their services to teach you what you need to know to lose weight, and then you don't need to go back to see them again. That's how it should be. So a lot of these principles that we have, these methods that we have around weight loss, are just basically trying to get you in and from a business model, having your repeat business is great. And I know Richard what was his name? Samba, I think. Richard Samba, who is financial director for Weight Watchers, said that 84% of their revenue came from repeat business. 84%. So how can that be a method that works if people keep coming back? It's because they don't know. They have no idea what the actual principle is underneath. So if you can be a bit more aware about what that principle is and how you achieve it and how you make it sustainable, then your weight loss journey can be a much more pleasurable one. And, you know, when you do go out and eat a pizza, people go, oh, I thought you were losing weight. And you can go, well, I am, because I know that I'm going to be way under what I need for this day or this week, and I'm in control of it. And again, that's a whole other Facebook Live talking about these foods are for weight loss and these foods aren't. Thanks for all your input. It's been absolutely brilliant. My first ever Facebook Live. I'm hoping to do much more over the coming weeks and months. Now we're in this new virtual world. I'm trying to have a bit more structure and maybe get a bit more down into the nitty gritty next time. But thanks for all coming to watch. And if you're watching this now, not live, recorded, posted, any questions, just stick them underneath the post. And next time, we can answer those questions, or I'll contact you directly. And if you've got a topic as well that you want to discuss next time, please do write that below. And for those of you that have been following me on Instagram and are asking why my hair hasn't been cut, after 100% of you said that it needed to be cut, I'm waiting for my stylist, my wife, to have a spare moment where she can cut it. So we'll see what happens. Cool. Thank you all, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.